going to be learning Mridanga together as the days go by. We have around 4 modules coming up. So this is the first module where we learn the basics. So we start by learning the structure of the Mridanga, how to play it, how to take care of it, and how to play some basic bits and how to get ourselves accustomed to the culture of playing Mridanga. Then eventually, slowly we learn the complex bits as time goes by. And I hope by the end of a few months, all of us will be very expert. So we'll dive straight into into the lesson. Um, so Mridanga, as we know, we've been told it's an extension of Balaram. So they come in different designs and shapes and sizes as well. So what I'm holding here, it's a clay Mridanga. So it normally comes without the piece of cloth when it's designed. It's made of a body of clay and there is a leather skin. So as per Vaishnava standard, since we practice ahimsa, it's understood that the skin that is used from Mridanga is from animals that have left their bodies at the end of their lifespan, and then the skin is used to make the mridanga. So we have different types of mridanga. We have like what I have is a clay drum. Sometimes we also have fiber mridanga made from some material, some kind of plastic material. It doesn't produce a sound very high, but it's also a good option. It's cheaper and it's easier to transport and good for some it doesn't break. So the clay mridanga is a little bit fragile. If you drop it or if it's not handled with care, it breaks easily. But then when you take very good care of it, it produces the best kind of quality. So we have different varieties of clay mridanga. I think we also have recently what they call Madura mridanga. It's a Western design kind of mridanga. It's designed to last longer and not break. So in this way, if whatever you have comes in this shape, then for sure it's a mridanga in one of its many shapes and forms and design. So you are in the safe place. So I realized in Vrindavan, or rather in India, we experience different weather. So the mridanga tends to uh, shift with the weather. Sometimes when it's very cold, it loses its tuning and it becomes a little bit low. And when it becomes very hot, it becomes very sharp. So this is normal and to be expected. So what's expected of us when we start to play, since we understand that Mridanga is an extension of Balaram, so we take very good care of it. We can establish an asana somewhere where we keep it, or some devotees hang their mridanga from a higher point so that it's not kept on the floor. I understand there is sometimes some humidity or something like that. So if you keep the mridanga in a place that is very humid, over time the straps will rot or it will lose its tuning and the sound quality will not be as good. So we have to take very good care of the drum. And like I have a very nice setting where I keep my drums. And whenever we are playing, then you have to prepare before you play. You prepare a very nice place to sit, a quiet place without as many distractions, just like we are having in class. And then you handle the drum carefully so that you don't drop it here and there. Then in this way, you are ready and set to play. So before we start playing the mridanga, there is a pranam mantra that we normally chant. That is expected for us to chant before we start playing the mridanga. So Mataji, I'm not sure if you are there. Could you please share the document? There is a document I shared with them that has the mridanga pranam mantra that is to be recited. Um, we'll wait for a minute when they share the document. Okay, so as we wait, so this a mantra that kind of tries to evoke auspiciousness, offering up respect to the mridanga before we start practicing or playing. So if you look at those who play in a regulated way in a kirtan setup, we normally take a pause and offer the prayer to the mridanga before we play because this is literally Balaram. Okay, so we not only offer obeisances to Balaram, but we also remember our spiritual master. We also remember Srila Prabhupada. So in this way, what we are trying to do is trying to remember the essence for why we are playing. We're not playing because it's a musical instrument, or we're not using it for a Bollywood setup. We're trying to use it as an offering. We are trying to help our Gurudev offer some service. So we remember them in that way so that we play in this consciousness. So I'm not sure about
Hare
the
Krishna,
sharing, but
Prabhuji. Yeah, you wanted me to share
yes,
the PDF, is it? The Pranam Mantra PDF? Okay, okay.
yes,
Yeah,
the
1
one
minute.
that I said you,
Yeah, sure.
Pranamantra.
1 minute, 1 minute.
So when Mataji shares the pranam mantra, I understand you are all muted, but in the spirit of understanding it, so I'll read through the mantra for one time, and I request all of you in your own setups to also recite the mantra. It's a good practice, and consecutively while you'll be practicing, it's a good practice for us to, before we do anything about Mridanga, we recite the mantra. And then also when we are playing the mantras in the class as well, then what we try to do is we also try to recite the mantras that we are playing out loud. In the beginning, it's recommended that we chant the mantras that we are about to play out loud when we are playing them. So if we are playing Tere Keta, then we are it's recommended that we say te re ke ta as well as we are playing, so that what this helps us achieve is that we'll be able to play and sing. So we can be able to play mridanga at the same time, sing in kirtan. So it's a very good practice for us to recite these mantras, and also it comes with an element of purification as well. So when Mataji shares the mantra, please try to read it along with me, and consecutively when we'll be practicing, you first recite this mantra. It takes like a minute. Then you can start playing. You can start practice. So like it was shared in the beginning of the class, this is more or less an addition to our sadhana now. Mridanga is for us to be able to play, then it needs some time, it needs some attention for us to make the skill grow. So you are requested to dedicate around 20 minutes. Those who play on a very professional level, we practice for 2 hours every day. Sometimes some devotees practice for 6 hours every day. Those who serve full time in Kirtan. Um, of course, for us, if we are taking it as a side, you can practice as long as you want. The more you dedicate time, then the faster you will advance. But at least we should give 20 minutes every day. Um, or if you can't do 20, then you can do 10, but 20 is the best. Actually, it's recommended. The most teachers recommend a minimum of 30 minutes. For us, we can do 20. So that what you do in those 20 minutes, then we'll discuss once we learn about the mantra, and then I'll slowly tell you how to practice it gradually until you are able to get to a high level. So I think we have the screen coming up now. Yes. So we have the Shrikal Pranam mantra there. So before picking up the Mridanga, one should always offer obeisance while reciting the following Pranam mantra. So like I mentioned a few seconds ago, that this is also an addition to our sadhana also when we are trying to play. So remember I said when we are reciting this mantra, we not only offer obeisance to the Mridanga, but since it's a very high science, we are learning in the line of Narottam Thakur, the composer of the mantras. We'll be learning the compositions here. So we try to remember our acharyas, we try to remember our guru, we try to remember Srila Prabhupada, and we're trying to thinking in this way. I'm thinking like I want to play as an offering. I want to help my Gurudev in offering some service. Whenever we do any service, whenever we do an offering, we are offering, with regard to the mercy of our Gurudev. So we try to remember this as well. So I'm going to read the mantra once, and then I'll pause for about 30 seconds. You can try and recite it by yourself in the same tune so that you remember the tune. So eventually, once you recite it a few times, it will stick to your memory and you'll be able to very easily narrate it. So the mantra goes, Namo Jagannatha Sutaya Nama Mridanga Nama Labangara Samadhuri Sasra Guna Samyuktam Namo Mridanga Namo Nama Namo Baladevaya Namo Namaha. I'll read again. Namo Jagannatha Sutaya Namo Mridanga Namaha Labangara Samadhuri Sasra Guna Samyuktam Namo Mridanga Namo Nama Namo Baladevaya Namo Namaha. So the translation of it goes, I offer my respectful obeisances unto the son of Sri Jagannath Mishra, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I offer obeisances unto the Mridanga from which sweet and nectarian sound emanates. I offer my obeisances again and again unto the Mridanga, which has thousands of good qualities, and I offer my obeisances unto Lord Baladev, who assumes the form of the Mridanga to serve Lord Chaitanya. So once we recite this mantra, so I'm going to give you a minute to try and read it out on your own. So once we recite it, then we'll be ready to start playing. So please give it a try. Okay. So now we dive right into the next step. So Mataji, please just keep the document. I don't know if you can pin both of us, my display and, okay, let's just stick with the display for now. So next on, the first step we learn in Mridanga is how to hold the drum. So I was trying to get a second camera in the room, but we'll work with this one for now. So I'm going to shift a little bit from the camera and try to demonstrate that. So when we play the drum, it's recommended we normally sit in a lotus position. A bit. So you'd be sitting on the floor most of the time. So I'm pulling the camera at the same time. So what happens is when you sit on the floor and then you try to rest your feet, what you want to do is, I think because we are mostly in India, we must be already accustomed to this. So I'm going to disconnect my earphones for a while. Please, someone raise up your hand if the voice goes away. So what we do is we try to sit in such a way that our feet are lying parallel, or rather as close to the ground as possible, so that eventually when we have the drum, which I'm about to carry in a few minutes, it can be able to rest very easily across the lap. Now, when we take the Mridanga, then you want to have the drum resting in such a way that on the small side, on this side, there shouldn't be any hindrance. There shouldn't be any foot. Sometimes devotees put them Mridanga like this. So it is very difficult to play. If your drum is like this, then you have to squeeze your hand in there, which is not nice. So we try to put the Mridanga in such a way that it is sticking out at least on the small side. And then, sorry about that. On the big side, it can rest gently like that. It's okay. But if possible, if you are able to sit in a proper lotus position, then you should be able to keep it in such a way that it's also resting in a way that you can move your hand freely on this side as well. So when we sit, then we try to, of course, it's not recommended to sit on the floor whenever you're doing anything. If possible, you get a mat or something you sit. And if you're not able to sit properly in lotus, you can sit on a yoga brick, or even sometimes on the chair, depending on your circumstance. Wherever you are able to sit, at the end of the day, you want to be able to have the drum resting very easily, gently on your laps. So if you are not able to keep the drum resting on your laps without any support, then you can use the strap. Mridanga comes with a strap. You can put it behind you when you are playing. You can put it like this, or you could tuck it. you could tuck it down and keep the strap behind your body. So in our next class, I'll arrange to have two cameras so that I'll have another camera capturing me from a different angle so that you'll see a little bit better how I'll be sitting. So you can also keep the strap behind you. So you work with what works with, what adjusts your frame of body the best. But when you are seated with the mridanga, then with your hands and in that, then you'll be able to directly move into the playing. So how we play, we try to, so you realize I'll be adjusting my camera a lot so that I try to capture as many, a very good view of myself as possible. So once we have our drum in a way that it's not hindered on any side, then now we are ready to start playing. So if you are right, it's recommended for us to play the small side with our right hand. This is for most devotees, for most people, the right hand is the dominant hand. So we play the small side with the right hand because the right hand involves a lot of movement, a lot of high speed and a lot of activity. You have to play three times as many things on this side as you play on the big side. So it's recommended to play this side with the right hand. Sometimes devotees who have maybe who are left-handed can play with this side on the left hand side. It also goes with preference. You can choose to use any, but the recommended way is that you play regardless of your hand orientation. You try to play the small side with your right hand and the left hand side on the other side. So when we are playing, then there is the construction of our hand for us to be able to play more easily. It's recommended for us to try as much as possible to intentionally make our movement come from the wrist so that we are playing, so that our motion is coming from the wrist. I hope you can all see my hand. If there's anyone who has a question and if there's something you're not understanding, please raise up your hand or leave a text in the message and the moderator will respond or make me know. I'm watching so many views now. I can't exactly tell what's happening. So once you have your mridanga nicely, then you try to intentionally originate the movement of your hand from your wrist. You try to play with your wrist. Now, if you be playing with your hand like this, you get tired very fast and you'll have shoulder pain probably. You will not be able to play properly on time. So as much as possible when we be playing, you try to exercise it with your wrist, So we also keep our hand at a slightly elevated orientation. I hope this is understood. So by orientation, I mean that we raise our hand slightly and then we bend it at some angle. We bend it slightly so that we are able to kind of anchor the playing from the top. Now, if you don't understand this, then it will be explained a little bit more by the devotees who understand it Hindi. Then once we are able to do that, then now we can produce various strikes on the mridanga. So all right. So I've just turned on my original music from Mridanga. So now I hope you can hear my drum. Are you able to hear my Mridanga?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you very much. So now we are going to dive right into the first mantra that we are going to learn today. It's as simple as that. I hope you got all the instructions, and we have a small document that we'll share with you. It has most of the instructions on how to play. And if you have any question, you can always type it to us, send a message, or there's a small QR code at the bottom of the document we'll share. It links to one of my Instagram pages from Mridangam Materials. You can post a question there and I'll get back to you and I'll provide any clarification that you might need with your practice or something like that. So now the first mantra that we do for Mridanga session is Tere Keta. This is considered as the seed mantra or the bija mantra for Mridanga. This is the beginning mantra which enables us to get used to the drum, or rather, and make our hands familiar with the mridanga. When we're starting to play mridanga, it's a new thing. It's not something we're used to. So take it a kind of starts as the beginning, the origin of it. It gets us familiar with it. So now, this is the practical part. So everyone get up your drum, and please turn on your cameras. And as we gave Mataji instructed in the beginning, try to sit with the same posture as I'm sitting, with your small side popping out so that I can see it on the screen. So I'll be scrolling through the students and trying to see what's happening. I think we have around 20 people. I'll go through the snapshots and try to see how all of you are playing. So the first strike is te. So the mantra is te, re, ke, ta. Te, re, ke, ta. So it's very common. I'm thinking all of us must have heard about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the document just now in the group. If you any chance you haven't understood what I'm saying, you can open the document if you have a secondary device and look at it. Give me a minute. All right. So I think I have the document in the group now. So we are looking at the mantra on the second. I think the mantra is on the second page. It's labeled HS1. So the mantra is te, re, ke, ta. So we are going to dive into the beat. So for te, what we do, we play with our right hand. So whenever we are playing, at all times, please keep all your four fingers together. Try to keep fingers together, four fingers, and we have the thumb. This month we'll be using our four fingers, the thumb, and of course our right hand. So for te, we play with four fingers. We strike the middle part of the small side. So we strike and keep our hand there. So please try to repeat this bit, and I'll be looking through. So we are playing te with our hand and striking the middle part here. So when you are playing, don't necessarily, because I'm demonstrating, I'll be changing my posture to accommodate it. But when you are playing yourself, try to keep a neutral posture. Try to sit the way you would sit when you are practicing, so that you will not be practicing while looking at it. So you play from a stand up like this. So you'll be playing like that. So this is our first strike. Okay. So you hit the middle of the small I for or to sound te. All right, very nice. So then for us to produce re, we will be using our thumb. We'll be playing with our thumb to produce re, the second sound. So the mantra is te, re, ke, ta. So re, we play with our thumb. Now this is unfamiliar, right? So we play with this section of our thumb. So we'll be hitting the middle of the drum with this part. So when we have played te, then the next strike is re. So for re, remember I said we're trying to play from the wrist. So we are playing re like that. We are hitting the middle of the dark part. So I'm not moving my whole hand. You just keep your hand and move your wrist like that. It's very simple flick like that. Let's try this. I'm checking across the cameras to see. Okay, this is the second part. All right. Okay. I see a few devotees are trying. Then for K, that is the third strike. So we will be using our right hand, or no, our left hand to strike the big side in the middle. K. This is K in the center here. So try to hit the center, not at the top, but at the bottom, at the center as possible. And like we said, you try to play with your wrist and not the full hand. So this is K. Very good. Then the last bit of the Bija mantra or introduction mantra is ta. So for ta it's same as te, but for te we strike and keep our hand there. But for ta we hit it and let our hand bounce off. So it's our open sound. We describe it as our open sound. Yes. Thank you so much for those who are trying. I understand some of you might be familiar with this mantra. So for those who have already learned it, I'm requesting we be a little bit patient. We'll be learning the document that I've shared. It has a second derivative of the same mantra, so we can practice along with it, and eventually we'll proceed to the third and fourth and fifth mantra. So when we put everything together, then we play and say the mantra like we said. So we have te, re, te, ta, te, re, ke, ta. So this is the first mantra that we are learning today. So everyone, please try it at your own comfort there while trying to listen to whatever I'm playing here. So te, re, te, ta. All right. Te, re, te, ta. Okay. So if you are not sure, if you are not very sure about what your drum sounds like, I think I have a few minutes. You can raise up your hand. On Zoom, you have 3 buttons at where we have more indicated on your screen. You can tap on it, and there is normally an option to raise up your hand. So I will unmute your microphone, then listen to what you are playing. If there is a problem, then I can tell you on what to adjust. Okay. So please raise your hand if you have a doubt about or if you haven't understood it, or if you would wish for me to look at it. If you are confident with it, then we can proceed, and we'll catch you up in the next in a later time. All right. So I'll be checking here if there's a raised hand. All right. So as I'm not seeing any hands, I'm assuming we are all very comfortable with it. So in the beginning of the class, I was anticipating that maybe because we are learning Mridanga, then it means that we might have come in contact with Mridanga before and learned Tereketa. And for most people, Tereketa is very familiar. So in the document that I shared, I have 4 mantras. So I'm going to spontaneously now also demonstrate the second mantra that is there. So in the document, it's labeled HS2. It means Hasta Sadhana 2. It's a slight modification of the first mantra we've learned. So if we understand how to play te, re, ke, ta, then the second Hasta Sadhana te, re, ke, ta, te, re, ke, ta, basically emulating the same beats but adding a little bit more. So if we have te, re, ke, ta, we already know this one. So then we add te, re, te, re, then ke, ta. So for the second time, we play te, re twice for closing with ke, ta. All right. So it will be te, re, te, re, ke, ta. So the full mantra will be te, re, ke, ta, te, re, te, re, ke, ta. Okay. So this is the second Hasta Sadhana. So if you are very conversant with Tereketa, all right, I'm going to put my drum down now. So if you are very conversant with Tereketa, if you've played Tereketa before for some time and you're used to it already, so then you can supplement it or practice along with it the second mantra as well. And if you are more advanced, that means you'll be able to understand the document and you can play as many we have 4 mantras on the document. So if you go to the document that is shared there is a translation table below the mantras that are there. So in that table, I have broken down the mantra into each individual bit, and I've written there whether you're playing it on the left hand or on the right hand. Remember, I explained that for this class I'm assuming that we'll be playing the small side with our right hand and the big side with our left hand. So in the table, then if it's stay, I have indicated whether you're playing it on the left hand or on the right hand, and if it's a closed sound or a open sound. So for a closed sound, you strike and you keep your hand on the drum. You let your hand rest on the drum. Thank you so much, Mataji, for sharing. So if we're looking at our screen right now, so for if it's stay, the first stay I explained. So we hit the drum and then we keep our hand there, right? So if it's re, we still use the right hand, but we are hitting with the thumb, and then we are keeping our thumb there as well. So for this one, it's neither closed nor open. And then if it's K, we are playing on the left hand side, just like I demonstrated with our hand. So we hit it and keep our hand there. So it's a closed soft sound. And then Ta, I explained that we let our hand bounce off from the small side. Okay. So for tere tere, then we repeat the 3/4 tere tere. All right. So we look at my drum te 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 re, then ke ta. All right. So in this way, you can use this table here. It should be able to guide you if you forgot something. And I think they're also recording the video and they'll post it on the group. So you try to practice slowly. So it's recommended that you say the mantra that you're playing. For example, if it's Tere Keta and then you play along. So how we practice it, we play continuously. So if I'm saying the mantra now, it will be Te Re Keta, Te Re Keta, Te Re Keta, Te Re Keta. Or if it's the second one, Te Re Keta, Te Re, Te Re Keta, Te Re Keta, Te Re, Te Re Keta. So you play continuously without stopping. So this is why it's recommended, I think, in the end of the document that we start by practicing very slowly and trying to get, yes, we have practice tips. So start slow. We practice at the speed which we are comfortable with. So even if you have played Tereketa before, try to relearn it again. I also try this practice from time to time. I try to learn this Tereketa afresh to refresh my skills, because it said whatever you don't learn again, you forget. So you play very slowly so that you make sure you are hitting the drum in the correct way, and then you are also saying the mantra very correctly. It's a very good refresher. So you play slowly and then you say the mantra as well. When you start playing really fast, then you can't say the mantra anymore. You can sing the mantra along or chant a bhajan along with it, or recite a shloka, whatever you like. So then we try to keep our hands loose, but at the same time steady. And then we emphasize on the beats, make sure we're playing very distinctly. Okay. So remember, I said this is like a form of sadhana. We try and do it at least every day. Set aside a few minutes to try and do it. You don't have to do it for 2 hours or anything. If you can do a steady 20 minutes, you will advance very fast. But even if you can't do that, then dedicate some time. At least you touch the drum every day. You play 5 minutes, 10 minutes. The longer you do, this is how we build on test. So sometimes when we are starting practicing, in the beginning it gets very dull. It might become very boring to play, especially if we don't play correctly. But if you play it as we have been instructed, then you'll develop a test. It will start becoming very sweet. You can feel the excitement when you play. It happens to me when I practice it like this. So we have to stay very devoted. Our foundation will determine how good our progress is. So it's very important for us to focus on this mantra that I gave. So Tere Keta, if you feel you are a little bit comfortable, you try the second one, but keep some patience, and then we'll instruct when we can continue with the third and fourth one. So then in our next session on Wednesday, we'll spend the time exclusively to look at how we're playing. So on that day, I'll be looking at the videos submissions of every student individually to see how you are playing the mantra on your Zoom, so that we see the progress, and if there's something we can correct, we'll be able to correct it from there. Otherwise, that's all for today, and I wish you all happy practicing. I'm very grateful that you have all been here very patiently, and I hope you've understood something. And if there is anyone who didn't understand some part of it, you can get the document for you. And like I said, you can write to us, you can send a message, and Anurag and I and Anirudh Prabhu, I'm sorry, will arrange will liaise with this area. The mother of Prabhu is here. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for facilitating and arranging this platform for us to share in Mridanga. So Brother Madhav Prabhu and Nirudh Prabhu were there in Iskandabaria. So they will arrange for us to practice together. So progress takes a little bit of time, but I promise you in after 1 month, in 2 months, we'll be able to play very proficiently and we can chant along. So this is the first of many lessons to come, and I hope we'll all stick together in this journey and gradually advance. Hare Krishna. Okay, thank you very much. Is there anyone who has a question they may want to ask? Then I'll leave it up to the moderator, Ms. Kondevaria from Mataji, to instruct us how to proceed.
I think there are no questions, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would like to offer my humble obeisances and thank you very much, Prabhuji, on behalf of ISKCON Devariya, for really taking up this service and very selflessly teaching all the devotees how to play Mridanga as a service to Nityananda Prabhu and Srila Gurudev. We are very, very grateful to you. I offer my obeisances to all the devotees on the call. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, thank you so much for joining us on your journey to learning Mridangam with His Grace Manah Siksha Prabhu. We'll be meeting again on Wednesday, and please make sure to practice and give your humble offering to Srila Gurudev. हरे कृष्णा प्यारे भक्तों, आपके एसोसिएशन के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, और आप ऐसे हमारे साथ जुड़े रहिएगा। और नेक्स्ट क्लास, हमारी अगली कक्षा बुधवार को होगा। तब तक आप ठीक से प्रैक्टिस करके आप अपने ऑफरिंग को श्री गुरुदेव को दे सकते हैं। धन्यवाद। हरे कृष्णा। विल बी एंडिंग द कॉल हियर। थैंक यू सो मच प्रभु जी।